Today I'm going to show you how to set up and use the band to help you with your front lever. Now the cool thing about the band is that it allows you to train progressions that you couldn't normally do without the band. So it's a great one to add in as an addition to the work that you're already doing with your front lever. I wouldn't say to only use the band for your front lever training, but let's break it apart and look at the technique. Now we have some options when it comes to bands and we have some options when it comes to bars. You notice that I'm using a lower bar, so this one's about chest height for me, and I find that this is the easiest variation to use the bands with. You can use a higher bar, but it's much harder to get in and out of the position. You can use a lower bar like this as well. That works quite well. The downside of that is your butt hits the floor a lot of the time. So if you have the luxury of having something this height, it could be rings, or it could be a bar on the Smith machine, or bar on a squat rack. But if you have the option, go for something like this. Now, when it comes to thickness of band, I wouldn't go with this one. The big fat one that comes in the packs, I would go with either the medium one or the skinnier one. So this is like the most common length of bands. Notice they're all the same. So let's use the black band, which would be my favorite. Now we have a couple of options in terms of attaching the band to the bar as well. You could hook it on if you have a situation like this. You could loop it through, so I can take the band over like that, loop it through there, so the band is in that position, and then I just need to hold on to the other end. But my favorite would be to put the band around your hips first, not around your hips, underneath your butt cheeks. So in that position, that way the band's not going to ride up, and then I'd have your hands and your thumbs like so. And then to get into the position, I'm going to hold onto the bar, and then I can just slowly enter the front lever position like so. Now, you'll notice that I've gone straight to a straddle or into a straight front lever. They're actually the easiest positions to get into with the band. Where you'll run into issues is if you try and go into a tight tuck, the band will flick off you or flick up. So if I try and go into a tight tuck in this position, so underneath the butt cheeks again, here like so, if I come into this position, you'll see I've lost the band, and that will tend to happen. So if you want to go into slightly easier positions, what I recommend you do is frog the legs out to the side, which holds onto the band and stops it running down your legs. So if I go into this position and now frog the legs, so it stopped the band coming off, and I could even come there. These down posts are getting in the way a little bit, but you get the idea that the knees are stopping. If I bring the knees in, that's going to happen. So that would be my favorite way of doing it. So underneath the butt cheeks, fingers, thumbs, grab hold of, step into the position and do your holds there. The other way of doing it is to have the band attached to the bar in some way and then putting your feet onto the band like so. And then I can step into the position again and be more like that. I'm not a bigger fan, or as big a fan of that variation, because it's very specific in terms of the position that you can do and the thickness of band you need. Where with the other one, I can move the lever arm, so I can change the distance, how far my legs stick out, depending on how hard or how easy I want to make it, and also depending on what band I'm using. So we've just used this thickness of band, but if I use the skinnier band like this, it's going to force me to either hold for shorter times or go into easier progressions. So I'm going to use that same setup around the butt cheeks, thumbs and fingers onto there. So now I'm going to have to come into an easier variation of the straddle. Can't do so much of that open hip straddle, the nice straddle position. With this thickness of band, it's going to bring me back. It's going to be more like the real thing, the non-banded planche, but I can adjust the position. But if I try and do that other setup that we just done and had my feet in here, now I'm probably not going to be able to do that hardly at all in that position with that thickness band. So it actually stops me using the band with that technique, because I can't open to straddle. It doesn't allow me with that setup, but it does if I go with this one. So that's why I prefer this setup. It works for everyone. You can bring it right back to that froggy position. You can open out to straddle, and even go to full position. So my recommendation would be to get a setup that has something this type of height. Use a pack of bands so you can play with the different variations. So let me just show you what happens with the thicker band for me. So in that position, underneath the butt cheeks, grab hold of there. Now I can hold here for a lot longer duration, hold a conversation. And if I'm good at Photoshop, I can make it look like I can hold a full plunge, that would be nice, a full front lever for a lot of time. So a selection of bands is good, ideally this height, bar or rings. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. If you're after help with your training, check out my app and website, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.